It's time to sit back, relax, and listen to Conversations with Joan. Conversations with Joan will inspire, motivate, and empower you. Live your best life now. Listen, learn, think, and decide. And now, here's your host, Joan Herman.
Welcome to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life, Conversations with Joan. I'm Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in. Whether we consider ourselves artists or not, according to today's guest, Mark Nepo, the deeper we go into the creative process, the more attuned we become, and the more we join with everything around us. Mark teaches the importance of art in bearing witness to the sorrow, depth, and joy of life. He joins us to talk about what it means to be human and how we can find the courage to let our originality shine. Mark moved and inspired readers and seekers all over the world with his #1 New York Times bestseller, The Book of Awakening. Mark has been called one of the finest spiritual guides of our time. In 2015, Mark was given a Lifetime Achievement Award by Age Nation, and in 2016, he was named by Watkins Mind Body Spirit as one of the 100 most spiritually influential living people. He was also chosen as one of OWN's Super Soul 100. Mark's newest book is Drinking from the River of Light, The Life of Expression. Welcome, Mark. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you, Joan. It's great to be back with you.
Oh, it's great to have you back, Mark. I always enjoy speaking with you. And today we're going to talk about your new book, Drinking from the River of Light. And in this book, you focus on how we can use our creativity as a means to unfold our spiritual growth. How do the two relate, Mark? How does creativity go with spiritual growth?
Well, sure. And I think that this has really shifted for me in my life. As you know from my other work, I'm a long-term cancer survivor and in my 60s now, but that was in my 30s. And that changed my whole understanding and experience of creativity. So kind of the metaphor that can help us start right here is breathing. You know, just as we can't say, oh, well, for this hour, we're only going to inhale. That's not going to work. Mm-hmm. Well, we must inhale and exhale. And the way the heart breathes, the heart also must inhale and exhale. And the way the heart inhales is by feeling and perceiving. And the way that it exhales is by expression. And it doesn't really matter what form that takes. You know, it could be in the formal arts, or the things we think of as art, dance, music, song, writing, painting, sculpture. But it also could be gardening. It could be taking car engines apart and putting them back together. It could be, making sure that you send something to everybody you know on their birthday. It could be, the whole point is that when we give ourselves wholeheartedly to what's before us or what calls us, then we allow the heart to express itself. And the heart must express itself in order for us to stay well and vital. So creativity, if you will, is the energy that comes off the heart in the same way that the sun gives off light and warmth. When we're present, authentic, and holding nothing back, our creativity is the warmth and light that comes off of us.
So you're expanding upon what we believe creativity to be and how we can incorporate it into our lives.
Well, yes, because it's the act, the engagement, and the activity of being wholehearted that brings us alive. So, when I work on these books, it's not that I'm creating a book. It's that by being so engaged, it actually creates me. I grow for having listened to it, be in conversation with it, trying to express it, and then the words are just the trail. So there's an interesting thing that happens to all of us. I mean, there's nothing wrong with, making things, with making a record, publishing a book, painting a painting. But when you go all the way back and when we're children, so if you're in a schoolyard and you're at recess, you love feeling your body, you're spinning around in the schoolyard, and then a teacher, meaning well, comes over and goes, wow, you're really good at that. You should think about becoming a dancer. Or I'm singing in the playground, and a teacher says, wow, you have a good voice. You might want to become a singer. And what happens is, there's nothing wrong with that, but then we start putting the definition and worth outside of us. Then it becomes, well, am I really a singer when am I a singer? Is it when a song is published, when a record is made? When am I a writer? When a book comes out? When, so what happens is we need to stay a verb and not become a noun. If you love singing, then just sing. As soon as it comes out of your mouth, you're a singer. If you like putting your hands in the earth, you don't have to become a gardener. You are a gardener. Just put your hands in the earth. So this really gets to, which is a chapter in the book, about the difference between giving attention and getting attention. In the outer world, we're often told, if you want to get ahead, you got to get attention. Well, there's a certain truth to that, and I have to put a resume out and send things out and make an interview and say, let people see who I am. But that doesn't define me. So when I start, the definition of who we are, the worth of who we are comes from giving attention, not getting attention. So, when I was a boy and I started all of this and didn't know what it was, I was giving attention to things. And I started writing really for two reasons. One, as a younger person, before, it was like, wow, something is looking like there's a light on that tree and it's wondrous. And I'm like, but then it's leaving. Oh no, wait, I needed to stay a little longer. So I would try to write to keep it in view a little longer. I would give my attention to stay engaged in life and learn from it. And also, when I also started writing more deeply when in high school, the first woman I fell in love with dumped me and broke my heart. Mm-hmm. And, that's an archetypal passage. And so I started, talking to myself to heal. Well, I realized as I started to heal that I wasn't just talking to myself. I had started a conversation with the universe. So when we feel confused or less than, I just encourage all of us. I try to do this myself. Give my full attention to whatever is before me.
And that requires us to slow down the pace of life.
We must slow down. And, it's normal for all of us, me too, that things make us speed up, and so there is no life other than where we are. All the spiritual traditions speak about this in different ways. And one of the menacing assumptions of modern life is that life is other than where we are. And you see this play out in social media with young people, too, younger generation, this fear of missing out. Oh, no, it's over there. Mm-hmm. If I could just get over there. Or I see I'm not in a relationship and I see a couple walking down the street and they seem happy. I don't really know if they're happy. But I say, oh, if I could just be like that, if I could just get over there, then life would begin. And all the different traditions, the meditation practices, and all the acts of expression, the acts of creativity, they all bring us back to now, to here. And we have to slow down to enter them. One of the things I'm blessed at this time of my life, I'm blessed I get to travel all over. And one of the paradoxes is that I do travel all over, and when I get wherever I'm going, I get there to affirm for people that there's nowhere to go. It's a privilege to do it.
Mark, a few moments ago, you mentioned social media. And, what I think social media does is it creates this place where we end up comparing ourselves to other people's lives. And what people post is what I call their A game. It's their highlight reel of life. And I think it causes a lot of us to wear this mask of not wanting to show who we really are and what we really have going on in our life.
Yeah, and I think and why that's so difficult is that who we are in our full humanity is how we experience the fullness of life. We can't do it by hiding who we are or pretending we're only one aspect. We all, medieval monks, when asked how they practiced their faith, said by falling down and getting up, which mm-hmm. I love that. Mm-hmm. And I think what's happening in the modern world is so let me back up to frame this. So 150 years ago, we needed to cut wood or get coal or, to have heat. And, we needed to do a lot of labor to have heat and light and warmth and food. Well, wonderfully, we don't have to do that now. So what do? We have gym memberships and Soul Cycle, and we, go for hikes, or, we have to do physical aerobics to compensate for the loss of physical labor that has happened because we've gained in progress. Well, now let's move to us today. And we have all this access through technology to amazing things, which is wonderful. I don't want to give up the progress, but they're not substitutes for authentic living. They're tools for authentic living. So even here, this is wonderful that you and I can talk like this. It's a miracle, actually. It's like we're in the same room, but it's not the same as if we were in the same room. And therefore, so I don't want to give it up, because we're states away and we can do this. This is wonderful. But if I was down the street from you, I don't want to do this instead of being with you. Right. And so what we need to have now is develop forms of spiritual aerobics to compensate for even more progress. So what does that mean? Well, that means, like, I can go online right now and I can see, some beautiful photographs, even video on top of Mount Everest. Well, that's amazing, because I may never get to go to the top of Mount Everest in my life. But seeing that is not the same thing as climbing a mountain and seeing the view, just seeing a picture of the view, because we had given up the climb. And there is actually a different, and that's part of the creativity. That's part of the expression, that, to actually do it is something else entirely. And so if I can't do it, that's fine, but I need to not give up pathways to authenticity and relationship. So let's go one step further about technology. Technology is a wonderful tool. It's not a code to live by. It's not a world view. It's like a screwdriver or a hammer or an extension cord. But if we don't meet the outer life with an inner life, we don't have to have things figured out. We just need to be present and inquiring and leaning into life. But if we don't, then the way that water will fill any empty hole, the characteristics of technology will become our default value. So that means I will be split focused. I will not be where I am. I can never go fast enough. I can never meet up with everything I think is better than me. All of those things will just flood in. And so you take something like the reality TV world of the last 25 years. Well, it gives us the illusion, and I'm not criticizing any one show. I'm trying to talk about the underlying values under it. So something like American Idol or The Voice or any of these shows, I can sit here and I can get all involved and vote and feel like I'm in community and relationship. And then the show's over, I turn it off, and I haven't been in relationship. And my energy for relationship has been dissipated, and I'm still lonely because it's not real relationship. So there's nothing wrong with watching those shows, but if I am looking to those experiences for relation, they are not substitutes for relationship, for true relationship.
Mark, do you think it's going to get better?
Yes, I do.
Do you think that people are starting to awaken to the messages that you're teaching?
Well, I do think that it will get better, and I think that we go in cycles. My book before this one was a book on community, looking at community throughout history and cross-culturally. And what I learned from that was there are great big waves in the ocean of time. We've been here before. We didn't have as many tools and as many amazing technological things, but we've been here before. And there's been long periods of time where people have been like we are today and pushing each other away. And there have been long periods of time when we've come together. So I do think it will get better. I do think it will cycle. And what I would offer is this, that, just as in the human body, as in your body or my body, we're considered healthy as long as we have one more healthy cell than toxic. Now, I'd like a lot more, but as long as I have one more healthy cell, I'm leaning toward health. So if we imagine and understand humanity as a global body, every one of us, every soul is a cell in that body. And therefore, all the things we're talking about, they don't just matter in terms of my life or your life. When we can be healthy, and authentic and kind and loving and inquisitive, then we contribute to keeping the global body healthy more than toxic today. And so our charge is to keep the literacy of the heart alive and to help make humanity a healthy global body.
The book is Drinking from the River of Light, The Life of Expression by Mark Nepo. If you would like to get more information about Mark and his work, you can visit marknepo.com. And as always, you can visit our website, cyacyl.com. That stands for Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. While on the site, listen to past shows on demand, read our digital magazine, and be sure to sign up for our mailing list. Mark, in our final moments, what is the takeaway? What would you like to leave our listeners with?
Oh, I would love to leave folks with that everyone is an artist. All we have to do, anytime that we're confused or feeling less than or feeling sad or in pain, I just encourage everyone to open your heart and give your full attention to whatever is before you. The tree outside, your cat, your dog, the ice melting on the road, whatever it might be, and the universe will start flooding back in to make us whole again. And so that's what I'd like to leave us with.
Mark, you have a program, Flames That Light the Heart, and you teach about the heart work that's required to be a spirit in the world. Can you tell us a little bit about this program?
Yeah, so it's actually 10 lessons on living with meaning, truth, and kindness. And there is an audio box set where I've explored these 10 lessons. And there's also through Udemy online, I filmed a video of these 10 lessons, which folks can get.
Mark, thank you so much for coming back on the show. Your work is so important in that it teaches us how to live with meaning and kindness, and that is needed today more than ever. So thank you for spending time with us and for sharing your wisdom.
Oh, you're so welcome, and thank you for your good work. It was great to be with you.
This is Conversations with Joan. Until next time, thanks for tuning in.